Okay, so I have two goals with this presentation. The first one is to keep you and me awake for 30 minutes more. And like this morning, first presentation earlier this morning, second goal is to share with you some glossary, some vocabulary, so that we can discuss further the high availability stuff on the forum or during face-to-face events. Because I will not cover this topic, which is a huge one, in 30 minutes. I can't. That's very, very complex. So let's start discussing some, let's say, wording to really share the same understanding of what is high availability and how to deal with this. Okay? That's the main goal, more than discussing the technical stuff inside. So, the very first, so that's the agenda quickly, so I'll try to go faster than this morning. I was a bit slow this morning. So we'll discuss this stuff, why high availability, what does it mean from an end user standpoint, which could be different from the technical standpoint. Then discuss a bit of technical implementation and see what we have or don't have with Zential today and discuss about the potential next steps. So, why do we discuss high availability? That's pretty obvious because we all want it. Okay. The real question is to understand whenever IT, the infrastructure, is part of your business today. Not your business or your customer's business. You will provide availability for your customer, I mean for its needs. So, is IT part of the business? Is it critical? Okay? And what's the impact in case you have failure at infrastructure level? Okay. That's the right question. Because if there is no impact, do not spend time and money on high availability. And this will give you an idea of how much you can spend because of the impact. Okay? So, that's very obvious that if your IT is part of business, okay, involved in your business process, then you lose money when servers fail. Okay? You also, it has also an impact in terms of users' confidence. If you have one failure a month, maybe it's too much, and next time your customer will look at another service provider for something that is more stable. Okay? So that's something to be understood. And there is also another aspect that is that each and every time there is a failure, you start administrating in a hurry because you have pressure, okay? Which is not good. So the answer to this is pretty obvious. Let's put something that is highly available as much as possible so that you can avoid all this, let's say, negative impact. Pretty easy. Let's go. So, what's the impact? I mean, the answer to this question is to be seen from an end user standpoint. They don't care, most of the time they don't care about IT. IT for them is more or less meaningless, okay? They care about service. What they have from an end user standpoint is service, okay? So, let me show you first what the RPO and RTO means. Okay, so RPO and RTO are two, let's say, concepts you do have to understand if you want to discuss high availability. That's totally mandatory. So, say you have, over the time, server running, as usual, you have a crash at some time, okay? So, crash in the middle, too bad. What's the goal? The goal is to first understand when you will restore your service, okay, from the crash up to where you go back, which is the return point objective. Okay, I crash my database. Too bad. How long in the past do you have to go back to retrieve something that is stable? Return point objective. Then, how long does it take to restore? Okay? That's the return time objective. And at the end, the availability, if I can make this working, is from here to here, because you have a crash in the middle, okay? You need to revert to this point, and you will take all this time to restore, okay? That's something that is very, very, let's say, critical in terms of understanding. If you don't have this understanding, then you cannot discuss high availability. It's meaningless. You can discuss, but it's just wording, okay? In the real life, this is what matters. Okay, and the second aspect, I would say, is the SLO and SLA, which are both service level. The first one in terms of objective, okay, what do you want to achieve in terms of objective, and the second one in terms of agreement. And the SLA, it's what you will sign with your customer, saying, okay, in case of crash, what I will do for you for this amount is this level of service based on what we understood together on the RPO and RTO. Okay? This concept have to be discussed, okay? Because it has a cost. And the goal is to have something that is as efficient as possible for the lower cost. If you miss this point, you can discuss high availability forever. It's totally meaningless. Okay. Let's jump to the technical implementation. So quite often when we discuss about the high availability, the very first answer is cluster. Is to switch from one failing platform to another up and running platform. It's not that obvious because you need, switching requires time, okay? Which is different from redundancy. I will explain a bit further. And second point is that cluster needs highly available storage. Meaning it's very, very difficult, not to say almost impossible, to have two servers with local storage in cluster mode. Some solution exists to synchronize disk. Nevertheless, it's, let's say, the result is like an highly available storage, okay? So, if you look at, for instance, the DRDB, which is a way to synchronizing disk, this cannot be done without some performance impact. So, you have to understand what you want to copy, to synchronize. Cluster is something that is pretty difficult. And second point I would like to add, by the way, well, I'll discuss later the virtual machines. And the problem with cluster is mainly that that's one block that you will duplicate on another server. Meaning today, if you look at Zential, you have Zential running on one server, this server fails, you run Zential on another server, which is, block level is Zential server, okay? Switching mode. There is another approach that is redundancy. If you look at services we have today with Zential, some services you can, let's say, duplicate it in a pretty easy way that will provide redundancy, and this redundancy will, by design, provide the high availability. Look at DNS. DNS, it's very easy to have two different DNS servers, two different hardware, synchronize DNS content, and push, thanks to DHCP, to workstations, to other servers. These two DNS as local DNS. If one fails, you don't care, because the only one will be, the other one will be available. Okay? So from protocol standpoint, it's pretty easy to do this for DNS. It's very easy to do this for LDAP. For DHCP, you can't. That's very obvious. So DHCP, you must implement something for DHCP that is in a switching mode. You cannot have two DHCP servers on the same network. Okay? So what I aim to show with this is that you cannot have all services working in a redundancy mode, in a failover mode. Some of them you can, some you can't, okay? And so the idea is to understand what you're running as service on your box, to understand how you could design something that is highly available for some services and different way for some others, okay? Second point regarding this per service view is also to understand that some services, if they fail, you don't care. DHCP, who cares? Yeah, not joking. I mean, your DHCP server, if it fails, you can reinstall a new one, same parameters, you have plenty of time, assuming leads are already sent. Because if the DHCP server is failing, for all workstations that are already connected to server, to network, sorry, and using network infrastructure, will run as usual. No renew, no new leases, that's it. So it's not a big issue. If your DNS is failing, that's very different. If your Kerberos server is failing, that's very different too. Okay? So level of, let's say, criticality is different depending on service. So something to be understood. Single point of failure, just to highlight the fact that in your design, you have to be sure that you do not miss something like, don't know, network. Okay? If your network is not highly available, it's totally useless to have 2, 3, 5 servers providing high availability. So look at this and look also at the performance impact. I'm thinking about, for instance, DRDB. Okay, it's nice, but if your scope for DRDB is your Zential server with a lot of data, with a lot of updates from users, then it has a performance impact. You may think about dedicated network or whatever to make this working, okay? So, with Zential, what can we do today? We could do, we'll discuss a cluster later. What we have today, we have one, let's say, one failover feature, which is not, from my standpoint, high availability of Zential server itself, but something Zential provides as connectivity to one, okay, which is quite good. Then we have the backup restore. Backup restore is something that is interesting because when you will have to restore, you will realize that in terms of RTO and RPO, backup restore is very poor. Because you backup once a day, twice a day, every hour. Okay, why not? But then RTO, RPO it's 1 hour, best case, assuming you are able to backup everything or changes in 1 hour. And RTO could be much longer, okay? So I'm not meaning here that backup restore is not something to be deployed, but it covers something different. Backup permits to, for instance, restore your database at 1 week before because you made a mistake, you deleted everything, and you need to restore. So backup restore is different, it's not high availability. Okay? Then Zential as a cluster, as I say, it requires to have highly available storage, not that obvious, especially for small organization. Okay? And discussing about this, VM, from my standpoint, is just like cluster. I mean, having 2 VM on the same hardware is totally useless, meaningless, because level of availability is not better than one single server. Okay? You will not switch faster. If your disk fails, then you can switch. So it requires to have highly available storage in any case that is external to your Zential server. Otherwise, synchronize. And we are back to the debate with all the data you need to synchronize, require network, blah, blah, blah. Okay? One point I can discuss is DRP, let's say, solution that is not available with the community platform. Okay? with the community edition. So I can't discuss this. I've not been able to find any useful documentation furthermore. So this is out of this presentation. And in any case, even for this kind of approach, let's say something like cloud. We have cloud everywhere. So it's very easy. Put everything on the cloud. Your backup on the cloud. Okay, so far so good. What about the RTO and RPO? It's even worse. I mean, to restore everything, think about this, okay? So that's, again, something, from my standpoint, that is covering something different from the high availability. Maybe useful in terms of DRP, for instance, which is something different. You have a huge disaster, you are more or less safe, or not at this level of crisis, because you have data outside. But it doesn't provide high availability, okay? So my point is to say today with NTL, it's quite difficult to have something that is by design highly available. Why not working on a per service approach and look at your customers and look at services that are running, and depending on this, say, okay, what's the risk? Okay? Make a risk assessment. What will most likely fail? Your disk. Okay? So this you can have mirroring, RAID 5, whatever you want. Okay? Then could be network, could be CPU. Okay? So risk assessment, and then to work at service level, and then we are back to Zential and tell them, okay guys, we want to implement something that will offer more availability per service. What can you do for us? Okay? So my proposal, and then that's what I think, sorry, we can discuss further in forums and events, is to split MTA and MDA from mail standpoint. Look at this service, for instance, mail. Today, mail at Zential is mail infrastructure backbone, not mail client, is one block. Meaning you have Zential on one server. You cannot split. You cannot deliver mail elsewhere than where you have your unique Zential mail server. Okay? But if you look at mail as a protocol, it's made of two different services. One is MTA, mail transfer agent. So you are delivering mail between MTA up to the MDA, that is the mail delivery agent that will store mail in the mailbox. Today, that's one unique block. If your mail service is failing, I mean, what's the first requirement from your customer? It's most likely to be able to send mail, to still have access to mail. Sending mail is MTA, it's not MDA. If you want to restore mail service, say you have huge mailboxes, the very first requirement is to be able to restore the mail feature. I want to send mail to my customers telling them, okay, we have a major failure, wait. This, you can restore it very quickly, because that's like DHCP, one simple service, mail transfer agent, you configure it, it runs, okay? MDA, it's different, you have data behind. So if you split it, then you can have, let's say, you can have redundancy that does not exist today. DNS, it's exactly the same. As I explained, you can have easily different DNS servers with some content, some replication, very easy to do. Today we can't. And by the way, while working on DNS, if you could introduce a split DNS feature, it will be wonderful. That's another topic. Okay? And then, I would say the main one, from my standpoint, is to be able to configure at Zential, let's say, capability to rely on external services. External services means that, for instance, your web server, if you have a web server that is providing service with authentication, your web server will be configured to rely on LDAP and Kerberos for the authentication and profiling. Today, everything is local. Meaning if you stop your LDAP server, it doesn't work anymore. While you could have your Apache configuration that is configured to access local LDAP server, why not? But also to access another external LDAP server could be, in this case, another Zentrial server, and to have this redundancy in terms of authentication that is quite easy to achieve. But in terms of design, it's something different from what we have today. So it's not that easy. There is no magic solution. That's very clear. It also requires to have a very, very clear understanding of your customer's environment. And the result is, once you have it, you can sell additional services because there is a real added value. That's very easy to explain to customers that if they spend time and money, you may offer something that will improve, let's say, their business, okay? So that's it from, I have been a bit faster. Let's say for what I wanted to share with you, then we need to discuss further, okay? Because there is no magic behind. Question? Clear enough? Okay, thank you.